course, we think, but it's not going to be the end of everything. So we still have work to do, and we'll still have to have data modelers and people who really understand how to do that. But ultimately, we can help and maybe introduce agents across the workflow. I think from collection, I mean, yeah, the gentleman mentioned it there. I mean, I think everything that you saw, the tools, the iStat toolkit, what we're doing in the SACC, I mean, in a way, this also allows for collection. So you may have seen some interfaces on the outside of the dissemination, but yeah, XDMX is actually built for the whole chain of data. And there are tools already available to produce Excel ready collection templates, ingest them into DSDs, and actually put them into a data warehouse and produce some output from that. So yeah, there's things there. I'll let other colleagues maybe respond.
Yeah, thank you. But on your point of statisticians, I like, so very good point, but yeah, you're right. Everybody cannot be good at everything. So sometimes I have the impression that we're asking statisticians to be like Superman of the data universe. They have to be data scientists. They have to be XDMX knowledgeable. They have to be business experts. Obviously, I presume the answer is to have teams because you cannot have in the same individuals all these things. But of course, you need to have cooperation. Let me turn to
maybe just one point to add. I mean, they also have to be now prompt engineers, you know, so.
And communicators. Okay. Our HMS colleagues?
Yeah, sure. I think the first two questions, so whether SDMX has to be hidden away and whether the quality of metadata improves or not over the last 20 years. So I think the improving capacity buildings and so making people better educated in SDMX and thus improving the quality of metadata is one of the core goals of the SDMX lab. So I hope it helps in improving the quality of metadata, and kind of similarly also SDMX has not to be hidden away anymore, at least for data modelers, because in general the knowledge of SDMX is improved. And I think this aligns pretty nicely with lowering the entry barrier into SDMX, which is also a strategic goal. So yeah, that's just easier to get started with SDMX. And what we are trying to do with the SDMX lab is just to try to hide away some of the IT complexity that is involved if you want to set up tools locally. And I think this is, as Bruno just said, nothing that a statistician or a data scientist has to be fully knowledgeable of.
Brian, you want to add?
Yeah, I'll stick with the hiding SDMX complexity theme, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm totally against it, frankly, but it's, you know, it's case dependent, I would say. So it depends. Like if you're publishing multilingual data, I mean, you want to hide all the translation aspects of it and getting that into SDMX from whoever is providing the translation material, right? You don't want them to know anything about SDMX. So, but that's true of anything, I suppose. But if you have methodologists doing your modeling that really need to get into how they're going to describe their data using SDMX, the first thing you need to be able to do is just say, okay, how does the language of SDMX relate to the language that you're used to using, and provide good examples and ways of that marriage, you know, the mapping. But it's unrealistic to ask somebody to troubleshoot issues or model edge cases or do the really complicated pieces of modeling that are going to come up if they know nothing about the standard and it's all been hidden from them. I mean, sure, they can model the simple stuff, but the simple stuff is never going to be the problem. And you need to give them the tools to really do their jobs, which is addressing the challenging cases. So I think we need to help them by giving them the tools to understand SDMX, and also help them by giving them the ability to use SDMX to its full capacity, in which case expose it to them. So again, for the methodologist type people. For data consumers, data scientists, or whomever out there pulling data from your website, yeah, SDMX1, PySDMX libraries, Jingado, these sorts of things that hide the complexity of retrieving SDMX data, bringing it into pandas or whatever other tools people like to use, or Excel. Fantastic. You know, absolutely, things like that are necessary. But so it depends on user personas, use cases, and there's no one answer to the question.
It depends on the users, because life can be complex. So that's so. Ole, you want Yeah, sorry, for HMS, you want to-
Just one thing regarding this. Do we have VTL in production? I wanted to ask the round, if you want to see a VTL in the lab, then please tell us at our booth, because we need feedback on this, if this could be a crucial point for VTL to have it in our test environment as well. So that's it.
It's an invitation for cooperation. Ole from the ECB.
Yeah, I just want to compliment also what Jonathan said and the question about modeling. I mean, that's the hard part. And just for the last 3 or 4 months, I've been involved in modeling 3 or 4 surveys in ECB, what normally is published on the ECB website, but we want to put them in the SDMX statistical data warehouse. But when the users are explained how SDMX works, they're actually pretty fast in understanding their own data and how to model it into SDMX. It's just a simple thing like the frequency can actually be quite a challenge when you have a survey, because it's not necessarily daily or monthly or quarterly or annually. It can be very different from that. So even that is a challenge. But I think it's when they understand the SDMX and how it works, I think the modeling is pretty almost straightforward.
Thank you. And I would like to give you the floor, Francesco. And again, many thanks to ISTAT for having supported this conference. So your views on the various points.
Just a few words concerning the usability of SDMX. When we decided to develop our tools, we decided a set of principles to follow. I don't remember all, but I remember just 2. Easy to install, easy to use. Why? Because during my 22 years now in SDMX implementations, when I provided training, it is very difficult for me to explain the difference between dataset and data flow. 2 very easy information objects that are part of the not so large information model of SDMX, because if we compare with the information model of GSIM, SDMX is very small. But this is provide you the idea of the difficulty to use SDMX. So the idea is that a very good thing to when you develop tools is to stay in the part of the data users. User-centric, this is very, very important. Otherwise, it is impossible for the user. In many countries, I found the implementation of SDMX that some international organizations have done for a country. And let's say, this installation, this deploy is there with the data flows that was created at the beginning, and then it is very difficult. You can imagine how to explain content constraints to end users? But content constraints, if I apply as the mix as such, means data flows. How to slice and dice data flows. So it is very important to create tools that are usable.
Thanks for this is there any burning comment around the table among the additional things? Last question, Kumar.
This is not a question, and because there was a question about the VTL usage in production. So I would like to say that in RBI, we are using the VTL in production. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. And because India is very famous for using SDMX in official statistics, and you are quite impressive. I think I'm very surprised. I thought that it would be more difficult to have a lively questions because it's late. So I'm very happy to see that there are still a lot of aficionados and fans of SDMX. We have a very rich session today. I have 5 pages of summary that I will now read. No, I will stop. I think a few points. One is that we mentioned the last 25 years. You mentioned the next 25 years. So we are really building history. So it's quite something important what we are doing. The second thing is that this morning we had this very interesting survey that you organized. And of course, AI came first, you remember. But today we saw that AI, okay, is a big issue, but the user approach, usability of the tools, but also the role of metadata is clearly something very important. And lastly, for the SDMX fans, again, we have a message from Marco because you can do more tomorrow. So Marco, the floor is yours.
We have an AI agent that records all today's remarks, which is going to be difficult to summarize. No, it's just like practical matters for tomorrow, tomorrow's agenda. And first of all, as a practical matter, don't lose your badge because that allows you to enter tomorrow. So don't forget that tomorrow. The start time tomorrow is 9 a.m. So we'll see you here at 9 a.m. Tomorrow. There are a couple of things that will happen also at the end of the day tomorrow. So first of all, there is this data modeling event. It's not in the printed agenda, but it's in the online version of the agenda. This is an event organized, co-hosted by OECD, BIS, and ILO, and it will be right after the sort of conference program ends tomorrow, and it's going to be in this room. So just stay in this room, and it's going to be very informative because we're going to talk about data modeling. And if you have questions, Jonathan, I believe, can answer them. And then secondly, there will be a social dinner at 7:30. Those of you who registered for social dinner should have this yellow sticker here. So, so yes, check that. If you don't, that means that you're not registered. So, but don't panic. So if you, if you have, I think if you have, for those of you in the room, if you have, still availability, you can check with us, and we can see what we can do. Rafael, anything else? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that the registration desk can help. Yes. Okay. I think that is it. We can close here. Thank you very much, and see you tomorrow.
Any sense?